Hello, I'm Governor Andrew Cuomo, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about what's going on in our economy and what it means for you. As we all know, these are tough economic times. From the kitchen table to the halls of Congress, people are making hard choices. Choices about priorities, about direction, about value. With all of the debate about how to best solve our economic problems, at least one thing is clear. We must be smart, cut waste, and we must do more with less. And while it is certainly difficult, it is not impossible. We proved that this year in Albany. When we adopted the state budget earlier this year, we actually changed the culture of spending in Albany. It was tough, but we did it, and we're the better for it. However, your tax dollars don't just go to the state, they also go to your local governments, and local property taxes are simply out of control. The 15 highest tax counties in the country are all here in New York State. Orleans County is the #1 in the nation for the highest property taxes, followed by Niagara, Monroe, Allegheny, Wayne, Cortland, Genesee, Chautauqua, and Seneca counties. In absolute dollars, Nassau County residents pay the highest property taxes in the country. And Westchester and Rockland are in the top 5. Property taxes have been growing at more than 6% a year for the last decade. That's more than personal income has grown, and it's double the rate of inflation. And while property taxes have been rising, home values have plummeted. These ever-increasing property taxes are putting a heavy burden on New Yorkers. Families are having trouble paying the mortgage. They are cutting back at the grocery store, and they are being forced to choose between saving for college and retirement or paying the tax bill. That's why for over a decade, Albany has tried to pass a cap on local property taxes. And finally, this year, we got it done. The property tax cap limit increases in school and local property taxes to 2% a year, or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. Local governments can go beyond the cap if 60% of the relevant local body approves. But by requiring a 60% vote, we put the odds in favor of the people finally. Because the cap is about putting you and your neighbors back in control of your community's spending. It creates an important dialogue. It stops the automatic increases year after year, and it lets you decide whether a tax increase is really necessary. And as you decide, you deserve to know the facts. Start with the cost of bureaucracy. In our schools, over the past 15 years, the number of supervisory staff has increased 34%, while the number of teachers has increased 9%, and student enrollment has actually dropped 4%. Today, New York's spending on school administration is 51% above the national average. The salaries of top administrators are off the charts. More than 2,000 administrators or managers make at least $150,000 a year. Over 40% of school superintendents receive salary and benefits of $200,000 a year or more. And beyond the issue of spending, there is another key element to this conversation, and that's the conversation about performance. The property tax cap is not just about how much local government spends, but also what you're getting for your money. New York has a long way to go on this score. Simply put, we spend the most and we get close to the least. For example, New York ranks #1 in education expenditures in the nation, but number 40 in graduation rates. So now is a good time to ask your local government about its performance and accountability measures and how it can do better. You should know that you have another tool in your hands also: streamlining government. A major reason that property taxes in New York are so high is that we have too many local governments. We have more than 10,500 governments across this state. 10,500 local governments. That's wasteful and very, very expensive. Now, however, we have a law that empowers citizens to consolidate their local governments or to reduce costs by sharing services with other local governments. This kind of consolidation can significantly lower property taxes. The tax cap is already working in communities all across the state. Since it took effect this summer, the cap has stopped automatic tax increases and brought much-needed scrutiny to government spending. Of the nearly 400 municipalities that have proposed their budgets, the vast majority, close to 85%, have stayed within the cap. Remember, in past years, local property taxes increased by an average of 6%. The cap is 2%, and close to 85% of the governments are now following the cap. We are making a difference. At the end of the day, though, it is all up to you. It is your money. It is your community. These are your local services. The state is not dictating a solution. I am not saying what the community should do. I am saying that I want you involved. And I want the people to have the power as opposed to the politicians. And I want you to have the facts. Because as I've traveled all across this state, people have said to me they just can't afford their local property taxes anymore. And this is a vehicle to make real reform. If you want to raise taxes, you can raise taxes. If you want to lower taxes, you can lower the taxes. If you want to live within the cap or be below the cap, it's all your choice. But you decide. The people decide, not the politicians. That's the way it's supposed to be. For this to happen, it is critical that you and your neighbors get involved, that you have the conversation. I urge you to be there when your local government's budget is being debated. Attend the school board meetings. Ask your elected officials about their spending choices. Talk to them about the cost of the bureaucracy and efficiencies. Ask them if their community should consider consolidating with other communities or sharing services to find economies of scale. We have built a website with information that may prove helpful as you join this vital discussion. Take a look. An informed citizen is an empowered citizen. I am a firm believer in the power of government to improve people's lives. I believe government can make a difference. I also believe in a government that is efficient and respects the tax dollar. I believe you can do both. I believe you can have effective government that makes a difference in people's lives and a government that is cost-effective and respects the taxpayer. That's what we're working towards. I believe in a government that works for you. That's what we're doing here in Albany every day. And that's what you should demand from your local government. Democracy works best when every citizen participates. I know that if New Yorkers work together and reason together, we can emerge stronger and create a brighter future for our families. This crisis may have a silver lining, and we can be the better for it. We can make this state live up to its glorious potential. The future is the sum of all of our choices, and I know that New Yorkers will choose wisely. Thank you for listening.